Today dawned cold and wet. The temperature was around 34 degrees and a gentle rain was falling. There's a few photos of the inside of the Prudhoe Bay Hotel. It's pretty sparse and industrial, but it's warm and the food was great. As we headed out, we passed thousands of tons of equipment needed to keep Dead Horse humming along and the oil flowing so we can have gas to ride around. The construction zone that has given many riders a problem started a few miles south of town. And you know it's going to be bad when the pilot truck almost gets stuck. It was a bit dicey starting and stopping. They just dumped a huge load of golf ball-sized stones mixed with mud that was about 6 inches deep. I can't imagine how it would have been on a big overloaded bike, 2 up. They're raising 35 miles of the road about 8 feet higher south of Dead Horse because of the floods last year that shut the road down for many days. Here you can see some of the thermal layer they're putting down. The flaggers said they're going to put about 2 feet of gravel on top of the thermal layer before they lay tarmac. The last 35 miles going into Dead Horse will be paved next year. That will be perfect. Lynn and I made it through the construction zone just fine, and about 50 miles south of Dead Horse, the rain stopped, and it was a nice ride across the tundra. On these clips here, you can see there is absolutely nothing on the horizon for, I would say, maybe 100 miles. A word about the truck drivers on the haul road. If you're running 60 miles per hour and a truck is coming at you at 60 miles an hour, the big rocks the truck is throwing up are going to hit you at 120 miles per hour. That's going to suck when one hits you between the eyes. What I found worked every time, and was probably the safest thing to do, was when you saw a big truck coming, pull way as far to the right-hand side of the road as you can and slow way down. Every truck driver that came towards me saw me doing that, and every time they do the same thing. We passed each other safely, gave each other a nice wave, and all was well. If you give the truck some respect by giving them as much room as you can, they will radio to the other trucks coming at you that you're a good guy and you'll be taken care of. If you're a dummy and speed around them, make them have to move out of your way because you're not paying attention or doing stupid stuff, then you're on your own. I never once had any problems with any of the truck drivers. It even seemed they would crash their truck over a cliff to keep from hurting me or Tess. Everyone needs to remember that we are guests and are on vacation. The truck drivers are working delivering goods to Dead Horse so we can have a place to stay and food to eat. Get out of their way, wave, and give them a thumbs up when they pass. You'll have a great time. However, you do need to watch out for this guy. When they work on a road up here, the construction zones are usually only about 5 to 20 kilometers long. You'll see the grader from miles away. You need to pick which side of the road you're going to ride on because the 12 to 20 inch tall berm of mud and gravel the grader is making is very difficult to cross if you need to change lanes. The graders usually work the road from the center to the right side. That means you're usually going to ride in the left lane. It sucks when a big truck pops up over a hill heading your way. If that happens, try to get over the berm or stop right up against it. The traffic driver will slow way down and give you some room. Luckily, we had no problems with trucks in any of the construction zones. Lynn and I stopped and took a break just before the summit. Adigan Valley is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. It's something you really need to see before you croak. The weather had cleared and it was going to be a beautiful day. We're descending the Adigan Pass now. The grade is about 12%. You can't let your attention wander even for a second, especially if it's wet. Lynn and I stopped again at the Boreal Lodge for the night. As I was giving Tess her evening wipe down and check, here's what I found. I got my trusty Leatherman tool and pulled it out of the tire. Luckily, the metal piece had only pierced the rubber of the lug. I was really, really lucky. We weren't done yet, though, as we discovered oil coming out of Lynn's final drive. We stopped the next morning in Coldfoot, and some great construction guys gave us a bottle of transmission oil to get us back to Fairbanks. In this clip, you can see that the grader operators in this area really know their stuff. They've got to be world class. This road is smooth as a billiard table. And once again, here's Lynn giving me the ADV salute. Enjoy. After a bit, we stopped again at the Yukon River camp to gas up and take a break. You have to prepay for your fuel. After topping off and squirting some lube on Tess's behind, we continued south towards Fairbanks. The gathering doom was on the horizon. Lynn and I had a restful night at the Super 8 in Fairbanks. Got up the next morning, had a breakfast at the world's highest Denny's, and then we headed off in the rain again, heading down to Anchorage. We had 580 kilometers to travel today, and most of it was in the rain. As we got closer to Anchorage, the rain finally let up a little bit. I don't have a clue or remember where this place was, but this section of road is really pretty. Lynn headed to his home, and I stopped at Gary and Deb's again. They've been so gracious in their hospitality hosting me during my time in Anchorage. Here I am trying to get most of the mud and calcium chloride off Tess. It had gotten into every nook and cranny. You can also see how fast the calcium chloride corrodes stuff. My rear rack support and wheel weights were perfect only a few days ago. After a good scrub, it was time for new tires, drivetrain, and oil. Tess was going to be in great shape for the rest of the ride home. I just finished mounting a new pair of Avon Trail Rider tires, and now I'm bolting on a new 47-tooth rear sprocket. I used a 1347 combo for the ride, and it was perfect. A wear item on the little WRs is the chain slider. I brought one with me when I left North Carolina and slipped it on for the ride back home. I use a gold DID XV520 chain on the bike. Here I am installing a brand new one and just about to give Tess a nice transfusion of Shell Rotella oil. You can also see the little plastic skid plate I made for Tess before I left North Carolina. I did such a good job, Tess let me have chocolate chip cookies and milk when I got done. was just about to head out, Deb presented me with the highlight of my stay with them, a whole box of homemade chocolate chip cookies. I now had all the food I'd need to make it back to North Carolina. I left Gary and Deb's place this morning and had a nice ride down the Seward Highway, even though there was a lot of traffic.
La 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 la, love is love. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about me.
There's a short tunnel you go through as you pass the Portage Glacier. You can see it off in the distance.
Talk about me, me, me. Let's talk about la 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 la, love is love. La 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 la, love is love. Love is sweet tea, love is a muppet.
To get to Whittier, you have to go through a long tunnel. It costs about $13 and it's really neat. It's the only way you can get there. The tunnel is shared with trucks, cars, motorbikes, and trains. It's open only a few minutes each hour for bikes, so you better be on time. You need to pay attention as you ride between the train rails, but it's not a problem as the speeds to the tunnel are slow. I let the other riders go ahead so I could use them for perspective when I filmed. There are many places in the tunnel where it's almost like it's raining. This thing really leaks. I was using my GoPro camera to film through here. It was doing a good job, but low light capability is a little bit lacking. As I came out of the tunnel, there was a short ride to Whittier. You pass cruise ship after cruise ship and lines of buses there for the tourists.
Love is boiled sweet, stuck to your pockets.
I rode into the small town and found the office of the Alaska Marine Ferry and got checked in. I was taking it from Whittier to Valdez. It cost $187 for Tess and I, and it was going to be a great ride. Here's a picture of the Aurora coming into the dock. That's the ferry we'll be taking. It's really nice. You ride down a long slippery ramp and tie your bike down before going up to the passenger areas. They say you need to have your own tie downs for your bike, but they had a big box of them, so that was good. I could have easily secured Tess with a string because she's so light. It was a relaxing ride to Valdez. I just chilled on the deck and had a nice lunch from the ship's restaurant as we plowed along about 14 knots. The ferry runs in the protected waters of the Inland Passage. That's good because I get seasick really easy. As we came into Valdez, you could see off in the distance the southern end of the Alaska pipeline. I went to the top and saw where it started, and now I got to see where it ends. Getting off the ship was really easy. I stopped a couple blocks down the road to make sure everything was still tied on okay with Tess and took a little ride through town. Valdez is beautiful. Lots of docks where the boats from the TV series Wicked Tuna are docked. It's really interesting. After a bit, I went down and found a little bed and breakfast I was going to stay at called A Quiet Place on Coho. It's run by a nice little lady, and I had a wonderful room for the night. This was going to be great. After I got checked into the bed and breakfast, I took a little ride downtown and had a really nice dinner at this little restaurant. After that, I hopped on Tess and Took a ride down the docks and got a nice picture of her with the tuna boats in the background. I got an early start this morning as I was leaving Valdez. The weather was kind of overcast and dreary. I was heading up over Thompson Pass and over to Tok as my destination for the day. Thompson Pass was everything anybody had ever told me about. It was absolutely spectacular. I'm going to shut up for a couple of minutes because I don't have any words to describe how beautiful this place is. Well, Tess and I made it to the chaos called Glen Allen. We got fueled up and headed out as fast as we could. A few miles on down the road, we stopped by an Alcan rider's home to pay our respects and just talk about the journey. Jack's a great guy and one of my new friends in Alaska. He gave Tess a hug and we continued on. We'll see Jack next year when my friends from Australia and Wales come along with me on my next adventure. Tess and I stopped in Tok for the night, had a nice room at the Golden Bear Motel. Next day we headed off in the rain, rode all day in the rain down to Haines Junction. About 3 o'clock we had enough, called it quits, and got a nice little motel. Tess and I left Haines Junction again in the rain. We headed over to Watson Lake, spent the night again at the Air Force Lodge, and headed south on the Cassiar. Cassiar is without a doubt one of my favorite roads in Alaska. It's just uncrowded. You don't pass a car sometimes for hours. We stopped by Jade City again, got another cup of coffee, and continued on south. Went through Dease Lake, a little bit of construction down there, not a problem though. And we headed on down to, where the hell did we stop? Beartooth Lodge. and got a nice little room there. I was the only one in the building. Had great views from the balcony. Had dinner, a wonderful Reuben sandwich and really nice French fries. Headed on south down to Kitwanga. And got my picture again at the sign down there. I got one going up, now I got one coming back. From there we headed on Highway 16, headed east over to Prince George to my friend Kelly's house. He goes by GIS Dude on ADV Rider. And after a nice night, wished him well and headed on back down towards the Icefields Parkway. My buddy Ian had ridden up from Calgary and rode back with me along the Icefields Parkway. We made it back to his house. I got Tessa's oil changed and headed out the next morning. I was going to meet my buddy Tom from Great Falls at Glacier National Park. I arrived just outside the park and had a great cup of butter pecan ice cream and some nuts while I waited for Tom to get there. I'd made reservations for a small cabin at Johnson's of St. Mary Campground. It was really cool. Tom and I had dinner at the restaurant and left early the next morning to ride the Going to the Sun Road through Glacier National Park. It was awesome. Glacier National Park is located in the U.S. state of Montana near the Canadian border. The park covers over 1 million acres and includes parts of 2 mountain ranges, over 130 named lakes, more than 1,000 different species of plants, and hundreds of species of animals. The Going to the Sun Road is spectacular. Vistas that go on forever and sheer drops along the roadway. If you have vertigo, this may not be your cup of tea. Tom and I made it back to his home in Great Falls. I really want to thank him and his beautiful wife, Pat, for letting me stay with them on the way up and now on the way back down. People like them are what makes a trip so much better. Tess and I stayed one more night and then headed out the next morning. It's a beautiful day, and Tess was singing as we passed fields in Montana that go on and on to the horizon. Just beautiful. On some parts of the road, you could even see the curvature of the earth. We're southbound on Highway 89, heading towards White Sulphur Springs. We'd soon be cresting the pass at Showdown. There was no snow today like last time when I came up here heading north. That time it was about 32 degrees and sleeting, and it was pretty cold. Today was great. Tess decided she wanted to get some gas at White Sulphur Springs, and we pulled into the little gas station we stopped at before. Filled her up, I walked inside, and they had perfect, brand new, fresh-made chocolate donuts. Life is good. We took Highways 12, 191, a little bit of Interstate 90, and Highway 78 down to Red Lodge. All were beautiful little country roads, except for the interstate. It sucked. I'd made reservations at the Yodeler Motel for the evening, pulled in there, got checked in, and decided to walk downtown. Red Lodge is a cool little town. I've stayed there many times and really enjoy the feeling of the place. It's got great food, motels, campgrounds, anything a person needs when they're passing through. Well, howdy. I haven't been doing a lot of narration videos this trip. I just haven't felt like it, but here's a little update. It's Tuesday, July something, and I rode from Great Falls down to Red Lodge, Montana today. Got a room at the Yodeler Motel. It's real nice. And I am walking downtown to downtown Red Lodge to get me some dinner. It's fixing to rain on me, so I'm walking a little fast, but all is good. I'll give you an update later on. Goodbye. Well, good morning. It is Wednesday, the 13th of July, 2016. I'm in Red Lodge, Montana. I stayed out at the Yodeler Motel last night. Great place. The owner's an ADV rider. Rides a big 1190 KTM. Real nice guy. We talked for quite a while. Gave me a special rate. I appreciate that. Got up this morning. Nice skies. You know, pretty much just about perfect. Temperature is about 55. Came down here to Prendy's. Little Prendy's place, had breakfast. Cute little mom and pop place down the street here from the motel. Had a short stack of pancakes, cup of coffee. Life is good. Fixing to head south on Highway 212, go over to Beartooth Pass, cross that, drop down, take the Chief Joseph Highway over to Cody. Both are just absolutely beautiful roads. They should be at everybody's top of their list for roads they want to ride. I'm going to probably end up down in Lander, Wyoming tonight. Camped down at City Park. Haven't camped in quite a few weeks now. Been staying with friends. It's been great. I'm going to camp there and then someplace down in Colorado, and then I'll be back at Vic and Hannah's house Friday afternoon. After that, it's nothing more than loading up the truck and heading back to the house. So I'll talk to you later on after I get up the top of the pass. See you later. I've ridden the Beartooth Highway several times, and each time it's a treat. Today was just going to be perfect. Temperatures mid-50s, not a cloud in the sky, very little traffic, no wind. Just absolutely spectacular. I'm going up the switchbacks now on the north side of the, I guess the mountain, whatever you call it, and just enjoying the views. There's a couple of workers taking care of an avalanche area, and there's one of the chain fences that kind of keeps the rocks off the road. Well, I'm going up the Beartooth switchbacks, trying to record some of it. This GoPro camera I've had for years has officially turned into a piece of shit. So if it keeps messing up, I'm going to throw it over the ledge. Goodbye. I stopped at the Rock Creek Vista Point to take a little break, and like always, it seems no matter where I stop, Tess always draws a crowd of people. It's kind of neat telling everybody about how far we've been, where we're going, and any problems, but it's all been good. The 68-mile-long Beartooth Scenic Byway winds its way through southwest Montana and northwest Wyoming and leads into Yellowstone National Park at its northeast entrance. Since opening to automobile traffic in 1937, the Beartooth Highway has welcomed visitors from around the world. Charles Kuralt said in his On the Road series that the Beartooth is the most beautiful road in North America. Except for this little stretch of construction, the Chief Joseph Scenic Byway is one of the most beautiful roads I've ever ridden. Just beautiful billiard table smooth asphalt, one sweeper after another as it climbs and descends through the forest in northern Wyoming. Here's a nice monument to the Indians that lived in the area and another view of the sweepers. These are the tunnels in the Wind River Canyon on Highway 20. I'm riding southbound towards the little town of Shoshone. And a little bit down the road, I'll be going through Cody, then I'll be heading out into the wide open spaces of Wyoming. I'll be riding through an area they call the Big Empty. And in just a little bit, you'll be able to see why. It's just the vastness is overwhelming. The highway just seems to go on forever. And again, not much traffic, and I'm all by myself, so that's the way I like it. Well, good afternoon. I'm at the Continental Divide on Highway 125 southbound, just north of Granby. I got a reservation at the Canyon Motel tonight. Stayed there a few years ago in the same room, room number 6. Gonna be good. Stopped for lunch in Walden a few minutes ago. Had me a cheesesteak sandwich and milkshake. It was pretty good. Elevation here is 9,000 some odd feet. It's gonna be real good. This is next to the last day on the road. Tomorrow I go across Rocky Mountain National Park, then head for Vic's house, and then from there It's in the truck back to North Carolina. It's been a great trip. I'm a little tired. I got a headache, but that's nothing new. The altitude here gives me a little bit of headache, so I'm gonna head on down to Granby, get gas, check in the motel, walk downtown, and get me some supper. See you later. Hey, good morning. It is Friday, July 15th. I'm at the Alpine Visitor Center at Rocky Mountain National Park having a oatmeal raisin cranberry cookie. It's, I guess, about 9:30 in the morning. Temperature outside is, oh gosh, it's real nice. Maybe around mid-50s. It's going to be great. I'm going to poke around the park a little bit. I'm going to head over to Vic's house this afternoon, get the bike loaded up in the truck, get ready to head back to the house. But today is really nice. The weather's beautiful. Not much traffic yet here in the park, but it's getting there. My beard is looking terrible. I can't wait to get back to the house and then go to the barbershop and get it trimmed up properly. I've been looking kind of like a caveman here, but it's good. Keeps the wind and bugs from blowing up in my helmet. So all is well. I'll talk to y'all later on. Goodbye.